Well, welcome everybody to our pickleball happy hour. It's not what you think, although I guess you could, uh, have your tea or your whatever that you might want to have. Um, Maybe you have a glass of wine or a coffee or whatever. But our real thing about pickleball happy hour is for us to have what I call a drink of training, okay? And the hors d'oeuvres are your good attitude that you bring to the table and your great questions that you ask and so forth. So again, if you're just coming in, put your first name and where you are from. And Carly, you might want to put that in the chat too, if people can rename themselves, because
I just did.
See everybody's ringing the doorbell. I mean, who shows up for a party on time, right? It's just the way it is. But you all know that I love to do a poll just to kind of take the temperature of what we're doing. So let me go to my poll and pull this up. I have to go down to the Leigh poll. So because we're going to be talking about both their pickleball play and their pickleball business, I want to know several things from you all, or I'm going to launch the poll in just a minute. But the first question on here is not about Leigh and Anna Leigh, it's about you. And the question is, do you own a pickleball related business? It's a yes or no. But I'm going to launch this poll and you can just go through the questions and answer them. So once you do this, take a couple of minutes and do that, then we'll show the results of the poll. So like the second one is Leigh and Anna Leigh won what medal in women's doubles at the US Open 2021. That's a multiple choice. So choose whatever you know to be true. If you don't know, guess. You know how multiple choice is in school, guess. So can everybody see those? Carly, you can see those? Yeah, we're starting to get some people answering. So if you will, and you've just come in, hey, Roz, good to see you. Yeah. So go ahead and put in your answers and we'll just go for a couple of minutes while. Are you having fun looking at these?
Yes.
Okay, how about one more minute just to make sure everybody has a chance to answer, and come on, participate, wake up, participate, choose something in that poll. And if
I lost mine, Dottie.
Huh?
I lost mine. It disappeared just as I was going to work at them.
Well, it may be behind your screen. Is everybody seeing it? It should be popped up. Go back to your Zoom. If you're not on your Zoom, the Zoom is at the very bottom of your computer. It's like a blue rectangle with a camera in it. So it might be that you somehow got off the Zoom and you can't see the poll. Okay. So anybody?
You could also try hovering over the polls icon that shows up when you hover at the bottom. And if you click on polls, it'll pop that up again if it's been minimized.
Yeah.
All right.
So try that, Roz. Is that getting it up for you?
No, I still don't see it.
So you might move your whole screen and then you'll see it behind your screen. Anyway, we'll go ahead. Okay, this is your last chance to kind of do the poll. All right. Okay, here's the results. So we don't have anybody here with a pickleball related business, and maybe you will be inspired by Leigh and Anna Leigh to do that. Well, I have one, but I wasn't answering,
I do too, but it wouldn't let me answer as a co-host.
Oh yeah, that's right. We can't do that. It's for the other people. So, and Leigh and Anna Leigh, they won bronze at the US Open 2021, which was fantastic. And Leigh played mixed doubles at the US Open with what male player? Okay, it was Tyson McGuffin. And Anna Leigh played mixed doubles at the US Open with Kyle Yates. So some people thought that was Tyson. But here's the thing. Anna Leigh now is going to be playing some tournaments with Tyson McGuffin.
That's right.
Switched off.
They were
And,
predicting the future.
Yeah. And so it says Leigh and Anna Leigh both played singles at the US Open. No, they did not. But Anna Leigh did, and she won bronze. How amazing is that? And then my sister really wanted you all to have a question that was, just easy. You just couldn't miss. And so that's where we put in Leigh and Anna Leigh are sisters, cousins, or mother and daughter. Well, folks, they are mother and daughter. And so that gives me the opportunity to now introduce them. I'm going to go over here. Hey, Leigh and Anna Leigh, how are you all?
Hi. I'm doing good. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Well, we're really excited because I think you all epitomize the future of how many pros are approaching pickleball. They're not only playing pickleball on the court, they're looking at how can we create a brand? Because at some point, now, Anna Leigh, this doesn't apply to you, you're so young, but Mom Leigh is probably going to have this gap between now and the age of 50 when she might be doing other things to really keep herself on the court, like maybe teaching, coaching. And so business is a great way to do this. So I think you all have really set the bar high for taking this into the future as a professional sport. So I just want to acknowledge you all. And I also want to let people know that you all are the national champions from Indian Wells in 2019. They won the gold medal when Anna Leigh was only 12 years old. I mean, that's mind-boggling. And it's, as far as we know, you are, Anna Leigh, you are the youngest ever to be national champion, so to speak, in a major sport. What do you think about that, Anna Leigh?
Pretty cool. Not gonna lie, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So as y'all can see, people will be coming on continually. And so we're happy about that, but we'll go ahead and get started. So we're going to be covering sort of three things tonight. One is I want to ask you all about playing with each other and playing against each other, because that's a different dynamic. That's number one. And then they're going to talk about their clothing line. Like, how did that come about? What made you think, oh, we can do this specialized clothing line? Did you approach the owner? Did they approach you? And then the last one is, what are the best tips for women's doubles, no matter what your level? Because I don't think anybody here tonight is at your level. If you are, you're in hiding, you're incognito, So I think we'll go first, though, with what is it like to play as a mother and daughter and with each other? What does that mean to you? What impact does that have on you off the court as well as on?
Well, we don't just play together, we travel together and we eat all our meals together. So it's kind of like an all week, year thing, because I'm always with you. And it just made sense to keep that going on the pickleball court.
Yeah, and we were always really close from the minute she was born to now. I mean, we've always been best friends and mother-daughter, and done everything together, no matter what it was, really, like Anna Leigh said. And when we first started playing pickleball, we were at different levels. So I started out as like a 4-5. I had a tennis background, so when I started, my tennis background transferred really easily over into pickleball. And so pretty much from day one, I was like a 4-5. But Anna Leigh was 10, going on 11.
I was a 3-0. My first tournament that I played, I was a 3-0. But in the middle of the tournament, I got bumped up to a 3-5.
But at that point, she was younger and at a different level. And so I was kind of like, coach. I mean,
yeah, we didn't even think at that point that we would ever be playing.
Yeah, I mean, and I would just help her with her strokes and the strategy, and she had other teammates and I would watch them play, and it was just something fun. We'd go out on the weekends and play with family and friends. It was just something fun that we could do together.
I started playing more. We started playing more tournaments, and I started moving up on the skill level. And I went from 3-5 in like in a year about. Like I went from 3-5 to 5-0. I played the last tournament I played 5-0 was at the US Open, right?
Yes.
And then,
Well, you know, I've never played in a tournament and them come to me and say, we're going to bump you up.
Yeah, it was
weird.
pretty funny. But so at that point, she won US Open at 12. You were 12.
Yeah, 12.
And that was at the 5-0. And we were like, let's try to play a tournament together. So our first tournament, we went to the Texas Open. It was the first year Texas Open existed. And we played Sarah Ansboury and Lucy Kovalova in the finals.
Oh my goodness.
And we got a game off of them. And we were, to us, that was like winning, you know, because we just couldn't even believe that we could be on the court with them. And
the next tournament we played was the Simone Slam,
the Florida Grand Slam.
And we beat Simone and Corinne in the final twice. We had to beat them twice. And that was just
and that's when I knew that if Anna Leigh, because at that point, Simone and Corinne had won everything for years. And at that point, I knew that if Anna Leigh, you know, could hang with them and we could come out victorious at that tournament, that she was ready. Like she was ready now. And you know, the thing is you never know how playing with a family member or mother-daughter, how that's going to play out when it comes down to a competition. You know, is there going to be drama? Are you going to fight?
Say, well, how did you miss that shot?
Play the blame game, the blame game. But for us, it's
like the opposite.
Total opposite. Yeah, we encourage one another. Anna Leigh's sometimes the coach. I'm sometimes the coach. We both have different strategies that you know that we might implement during the tournament or during a specific match. It's interesting because in practice it's very different. When we play together in practice, there are times where, how could you miss that? Why did you do that? I didn't call the switch. What are you doing? But I think that's we kind of get that out of the way in practice, and we know when we're in a tournament, there's absolutely no room for that.
We know if that happens, then we're just gonna play terrible.
Yeah.
Well, what I find interesting, Anna Leigh, is that you were so mature physically in your skills and mentally that I don't think you're going to go through the terrible teens. You know, like you start playing with somebody and they're 10 or 11, 12, and then maybe you're thinking, what if they go through that terrible teens part? You just seem to have skipped that. Why do you think that is?
I think it's because from a young age, I was always around adults, and my parents had taught me how to be around adults. And I grew up in the South where everything was yes, ma'am, yes, sir. Like you always respected the adults around you. And I feel like I just kind of like skipped the super immature, like do whatever you want and not care phase.
Well, that's to your benefit, because Leigh, honestly, if you were playing with Anna Leigh and all of a sudden you had to experience that teen angst, that would be pretty tough. You know, like, what am I going to do with this? You know, you've seen young kids, you know, stomp around the court, and I just always admire how you all handle yourselves as people, both on and off the court. So I think that's fantastic. So that's playing with one another. Let's talk for a minute about playing against one another, because I got to tell you, I was watching, of course, when you all got to the point in mixed doubles at the US Open where you ended up playing against one another. And everybody in the crowd was like, oh my goodness. And at the end, it was a great game. And you all came together, and I was able to capture a few pictures, but you all just held on to one another. And what I was laughing about was, when do you ever see opponents dressed alike, warming each other up, and one of the other players standing there talking to both of you that you're going to play? You know, it was just like, I was snapping pictures back there.
It actually, to your point, was a funny dynamic, because like you said earlier, I was playing with Tyson, Anna Leigh was playing with Kyle, but throughout the year we're switching and I'm playing with Kyle.
And we played each other a lot before, like not necessarily against those, but like where either one of us is playing with Kyle and the other is playing with somebody else.
Yeah, but for that specific match, the four of us, and we're all switching partners playing together throughout the entire year. So Anna Leigh and I were warming each other up. Tyson was over here just talking to both of us. Kyle was sort of standing over to the side. And
he hadn't even gotten there yet.
he hadn't even gotten there yet. And we were just kind of having a good old time, but we absolutely hate. There's not strong enough words to express
You want
it.
the other person to win while you're playing, but you don't want to let your partner down too. So it's just like a weird dynamic.
Yeah, and like I
So
want.
how do you mentally deal with that though? I mean, that's the reality. You know, let's face it, it's not an easy thing, but what do you do? How do you prepare? What do you say to yourself? Like, you're the rip it ladies. I'm going to rip one right at my mom.
Well, we figured out that no matter who wins, we don't take it like personal or anything. Like we figured that out after the first couple times we played each other, and now it's just like, okay, you win this one, I might win the next one. Like
I think we're getting better at realizing that, you know, somebody's got to win and somebody's got to lose, and you have a partner on your side of the court that's been thrown into this emotional situation, and you have to fight for your partner for that 15 to hour-long match. You just have to try to put aside that your kid or your mom is standing across the court from you and just play your heart out for your partner, if not for yourself, for your partner. And I think we're getting to the point where we're starting. That was probably one of the better matches that we've had against each other, where we were both able to be competitive and not one of us just fall apart. But I mean, overall, I think we're getting better. It's not ideal,
but it's never going to be easy.
It's never going to be easy. It's never going to be ideal, but we're learning to cope.
Well, it was a tremendous game. I think that's what made it hard for everybody watching. We were just like pulling for both of you. And what I thought was great, when I interviewed your dad, Anna Leigh, your husband, Leigh, you know, he just said, the great thing is that our family won. Because unlike somebody else, you go off the court and if you lose, you lose. Well, somebody in your family won. Like at the end of the day, that's pretty doggone good, but still challenging personally.
Yes, exactly. And that's why when it was over, you know, I just wanted to grab her so she didn't have time to get off the court, and, you know, we could end it right there. And we hugged for, it seemed like an eternity. I don't know how long it was. And I just said, you know, I love you. I wish that you had won. You know, I'm happy that I won for Tyson. What else did I say? I was like, you want to go get an ice cream? I know I said the good thing about losing is you get to go have ice cream.
Yeah.
And she was like, not funny. And I was like, you want to go have a glass of wine? And that made her laugh. And then like the ice was broken and she started laughing, and
then I went and got ice cream.
Then she went and got ice cream, not wine.
Well, after I wiped my tears away because we were all crying in the background, I think we did go have a glass of wine. And I think we toasted both of you all, you know, Sally and I were walking around. And so it was really great because it was such a good game, and that made everybody happy, but we knew it was tough. Anyway, so I think that's just interesting about the dynamics of when y'all play together and when you're across the court from one another. But let's switch gears a little bit here, because you two ladies are setting the stage for how people can be in pickleball and I don't want to say just be a pickleball player. I don't know how else to say it except to say it that way, because what you're doing is you're creating a brand, you're creating a business. So you're doing things on and off the court that are going to support you in multiple ways. So let's talk about the clothing line. I want you to share the story about how that came about, why you're doing these special pieces, and you just take it from here and tell us.
Well, we've always had a thing for matching and fashion.
Right.
And we still do to this day. And it matters to us what we wear and that we're matching.
Yeah, and we always wanted to be a little bit different. A lot of the pickleball clothing that we were seeing was a lot of stuff like it was
Pickleballs on it, or
yeah,
pickles.
yeah, no, or even it was basically like tennis clothes that were relabeled as pickleball clothes. And for us, pickleball has a different personality than tennis. I mean, we both played tennis, and we know the tennis vibe, and just pickleball is just more fun, and it has a flair, and has more of a personality. And so before we started collaborating with Faye and Flory, which is the clothing line, we were trying to match and do fun colors, and trying to set the stage for a pickleball, like you said, apparel brand.
And we always got comments on our outfits and like, where'd you get this, or stuff like that.
Yeah. And so we knew we were kind of just waiting and trying to figure out what we wanted to do with apparel. And we got a few offers from some of the larger clothing companies that are out there in pickleball now, but we wanted to have a little bit more input in what we were wearing.
Yeah.
And so we got a call one day from a North Carolina based company called Faye and Flory. And she said, you know, I love your look and what you guys are matching and trying to do. And I want to start making some pickleball skirts. She was already making tennis skirts and would love to collaborate. And maybe some of you don't know, we created a brand called Rip It Pickleball, probably, I don't know, 2 years now. And it's a little like raindrop, and the bottom looks like half of a
I could
pickleball.
run get my hat real quick.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So
There you go.
That's the logo right there. And it's got the little W, and it's a raindrop for waters, but it has like half the pickleball. Anyway, she said, I would love to collaborate with your Rip It Pickleball line. We were like,
Sure.
Sign us up. What does that mean? And she's like, you literally get to pick your patterns, your styles. The shirts incorporate our logo. Let's see if I turn around.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But you know, I think one thing that you said that struck me that would be meaningful to me if I was working with somebody and what I like to do, period. That's why we have multiple admins and moderators. We have Carly on tonight, Lynn on tonight. We usually have several others on here too, but the key word is collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to collaborate more than anything. I don't want to just do it by myself. It's too much fun to collaborate and have input and vice versa.
And actually, before my pickleball life, I had a clothing line for about 5 years. And it was like silk dresses and tweed skirts, and it was like a dressier boutique type clothing line. And I knew how hard it was to take, you know, an item from the pattern to the factory to the store. It's expensive. You got to have people, and it was a headache. So I knew that I didn't really want to manufacture my own clothing.
Yep.
To be able to partner with somebody, that we could design it with them, but they have all the legwork already in motion, and was kind of exactly what we were looking for. And so we started with a couple different prints.
Yeah, show us some of your stuff. And I just have to say, Lindsay, who is the owner of the company, is amazing. I had the chance to meet her at the US Open, and thankfully she's going to make a little longer skirt for this older lady. But
so
look at this.
But this is one of the prints. It's got.
Yeah. Now, how did that? Tell me a little bit about the story behind it.
So we just so the Rip It brand, you think of ripping it. So we thought, you think about lightning bolts, you think about bam, pow. And so our first couple prints that we wanted to do incorporated the lightning bolt.
Yeah.
Blue for like the waters.
Yeah. And Lindsay had already in her own line skulls, a couple prints with skulls. And so to kind of incorporate the Faye and Flory with the waters, we did a skull with the lightning bolt.
Gotcha.
That was one of the first prints. And then this was the other lightning bolt.
Oh, that's cool.
The clouds with the lightning bolts. And it kind of goes with like the waters, you know, like a storm with rain, you know. So this was kind of the first grouping, was the lightning bolts. And then for our Delray tournament that we hosted, we just want to do something fun. So we did the big pink.
Oh, that is wild. I love it.
Yeah, so this was kind of like the crazy. We knew we were going to be the focus of that tournament because we were hosting it, and we just wanted to do something fun. And so that was that one.
And then we kept the pink thing going.
And then we did
Oh,
a big
yeah.
tie-dye.
Now y'all had that on at the Open.
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
And then there's, so like I'm wearing one of the shirts, but here we did coordinating colors.
Uh-huh.
Like a yellow. We did
So let me ask you, does
purple.
Paddle Tech make that or does she make that?
Okay, so
I'm confused a little bit, so help me
so
clarify.
so with Paddle Tech, of course, being our primary sponsor, our clothing has to have Paddle Tech on it. So
Gotcha, okay.
Lindsay, Faye, and Flory would make our shirts, and then we'd have to have them stamped with Paddle Tech.
Okay.
Well, we got so many requests. Well, we want the shirt, but we also want it to say Paddle Tech. And our line was doing so well that Paddle Tech decided for US Open to join up with Faye and Flory, and they sold our Paddle Tech stamp shirts and our skirts in their booth at the US Open, and it did so well. They sold more clothing than paddles. So it was like, no, it did, and it was so cool because
You look out on the courts and you'd see somebody wearing it.
Our skirt. And it's like, it's just fun, and it's kind of a way you can connect with people
And kind of spread the brand.
yeah and we get to be creative and show a little bit of our personality. And the awesome thing about Lindsay is she's letting us change our prints like on a rolling basis.
Uh-huh.
So for Atlanta, hopefully for Atlanta, we've got 2 new skirts that should be ready. And so it's like keeping it fresh and new, and sort of allowing people to have fun with their clothes, you know?
Well, maybe she'll give me a sneak peek of that and let me see if it's one that'll work for me in a longer style, you know? I mean, let me ask you this. I know you all have a special link or something. Can you go, you see where the chat bar is down there? Would you go to the chat and put that link in?
I don't have a special link for Faye and Flory, but I have a promo code.
A code. Okay. That's whatever it is that will get people, and give you all the credit, let her know that it comes from, then put that in the chat. And then also, because when the chat ends, if we don't, usually the chat transcript saves automatically, but if you'll send it to me in a message in Facebook, then when I send out my follow-up email, I'll put the promo code in there. I'll put the link for their website, so that people can go there.
Yeah, and they have tons of, even if it's not our specific stuff, she has so many prints and styles. And like you were saying, you can custom order a longer skirt if you like a longer skirt as well. Like our shirts are tie back in the back, but if you want like a straight tank, like just a regular.
Yeah, you got
like this.
The racer shirt. Excellent.
Right. She's got like different style shirts, and you can use our code to get a discount off of those as well. It doesn't have to just be our stuff.
Yeah, and on her website, there's an area, a tab that says pickleball, and you can go on there and look. Now, you also have some items that are kind of one-of-a-kind things.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Okay.
So I'm wearing one right now.
Yeah.
It's a t-shirt, and it says "Rip It Pickleball" on it.
Oh, that is very cool.
And then like we did some jackets. This is like a light raincoat, so it's plain in the front, but then the back has like the triple logo, and these are all different sizes down the back.
That's great. Now, what kind of material is that?
Just like a thin windbreaker.
Okay.
Like a little rain repellent rain jacket, real lightweight, like a spring lightweight rain jacket with a little hood.
So tell me how those custom pieces work and how you put them out there, and
So we just
process.
So the whole idea with our Rip It Pickleball logo is that, like you said, like we want to create a brand, something that you know, I certainly won't be playing forever. She has forever ahead of her, but I don't, not at this level. I don't have forever ahead of me. And I would love, you know, to have a brand with our logo that kind of, when people see it, they know what it is, and they know there's quality items, you know, and fashion forward. And so the collaborations are really cool for us. And like making these jackets and the like t-shirts and stuff that we sell on our personal website is just a way to get our logo out there, just another way to
Okay.
show, you know, so yeah, spread the brand and spread the word, and whoever gets that piece, it's there's only one, and so you have something special.
So she doesn't make those, you all.
No.
Okay, that's what I wanted to be clear about, is that you all are doing that. And you know what I love about your logo? It's kind of like when Nike first came out, it always had the swoosh plus Nike, because they were creating the brand. But now, if you see that swoosh and Nike isn't even on it, everybody goes Nike.
Right,
So
right.
you're creating the same kind of thing, you know, with the
Right.
Rip It and the Waters and so forth. You know, it just has that look that is going to become well known, I think, to people over the years.
Well, and that's why we like collaborating with different companies that, you know, it shows that companies that are either in pickleball or coming into pickleball trust us and trust our name and trust our brand. And the fact that these companies want to collaborate and put our logo on their product, I think says a lot. And
Yeah.
And so we're really looking to partner with companies to create this brand and what it means and brand awareness. And so like you were going into the hats. So a hat company called Boko Gear contacted us. They're known for like the Ironman competitions, cycling, professional cycling, that sort of thing. Wanted to get into pickleball and asked us to do a collaboration. And we did 3 hats. So we did 3 hats.
And now there's one that is, you all know, is my favorite visor.
Yeah. It's so do that one first.
It's so comfortable. Yeah.
So it says Rip It Pickleball.
Yeah. And show the back. This is what makes it so comfortable in the back.
So the back is super stretchy, and it, like when it's on your head, it doesn't even feel like you have like a visor back on. It just feels like, you know, you got your hat on and it feels good.
So now it's all your fault, but I don't know how many visors in my closet that are no longer being worn, because I have this one, as I told you at the open, I said, do y'all have any here with you I can buy? No, so I got to go buy me another one, you know.
They're having like a $5 off special. I'll put the code on the chat.
Oh yeah, yeah. Put that in, and also again, send it to me. I want to do a post when I put the recording up, you know, and so that people can get these specials and get some of your stuff. Oh, that one's cool too.
So this is the technical hat. This is the most lightweight. It's all perforated.
And it's so comfortable.
You don't like people that have gotten this hat. This hat's actually, I think, sold out now, but love it. It's like I said, it's weightless.
So easy to wash.
Yeah, it's really
Well,
great.
I put mine in the dishwasher.
Yeah,
You know, that's a great way to clean your visors and all, you know, in the dishwasher. But anyway, yeah, put those in there, then send it to me in a message. Oh, that's cool too.
so
Dottie,
this is
we have
the trucker hat. Not really so much a hat to play in. It's more a hat, you know, to have fun in and wear out.
Right.
It's like an off-court hat.
Yeah.
Dottie, while we're talking about the clothing line and stuff, I'm going to grab a question from the chat there.
Absolutely.
Are you going to have your line for a little larger ladies? This is from Beth.
What I think right now the skirts, I don't know actually what the skirts go up to. Dottie, do you know? Have you been on there?
I don't, I mean, I was looking at them and it was, you know, like small, medium, you know, like that, large. So I don't know, you know, I think that's a good thing for us to share with Lindsay.
Yeah, for sure.
Say, just like, you know, for people that are older, I mean, in the day I wore the kind of things you all wore, but now it's like, you
Well,
know.
I know she took the recommendation of the longer skirt because a lot of people were requesting that. And so for sure, it's something for sure that we can recommend.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Beth adds there in the comments that she can wear an extra large Bella skirt. It fits like a charm. So that's
Okay.
for comparison.
Yeah, maybe you can kind of keep that in your mind and share that with Lindsay, because
Sure.
I know that she's really wanting to, deliver what people want. Let's face it, and you all are great brand partners with her and collaborating. So since you have input, if you were with a company that you had no input, you'd say, oh, I'd really love to help you, but I can't.
Right. Yeah, but there's nothing I can do. But yeah. Definitely.
So let me ask you before we go to the next part, if there's anything else that you want to share about your clothing, where you're going, what your goals are, with your, your business side of pickleball.
I mean, I guess the only other thing I would mention is that we partnered with this jewelry line, Studio Margaret, that does pickleball jewelry. She does a bunch of other jewelry too. We're wearing the necklaces.
Yeah, cool.
But we are doing a collaboration with her as well, and it's going to incorporate our logo. And it's just another really cool example of somebody that has their own business that they put their whole life and soul into. And they're trusting us to collaborate and create a piece of jewelry incorporating our logo. And we're really excited because it hopefully will be out soon. And so, yeah, I mean, we're really interested in kind of the fashion, headwear, jewelry kind of area of pickleball. I mean, we do teach, but we're looking to create a brand that 20 years from now, people look back and hopefully pros maybe are wearing our brand. It's like, instead of it just being our brand, we want it to be, the brand of many and not just associated with us, but just an overall pickleball brand that people trust. And so that's why we're going with these collaborations with companies that we feel strongly about, and hopefully it pays off.
Well, and when you build with somebody, you trust them, they trust you, then every time you introduce something, they trust you. So they're going to go, this is a high quality product. And I think you're right about, you all can teach, you do teach, some, but some of the pros, every time they're not playing, they're on the road having to do camps. I mean, that is a grinding. I mean, I know Tyson, when he was with Level Up, I mean, it's grueling.
Yes.
And he left to create his own around his brand, but it's grueling.
It's absolutely grueling. And Anna Leigh, only being 14, she still has school. She plays soccer, which is more demanding than pickleball because it's a team sport and you can't just show up when you want. And so, we don't really have time to also travel to teach or to be on the court 8 hours a day teaching. Because I have to be a mom and a wife, at the same time. And so we're looking for things that we can kind of do on our own time that we can do from our house and we can still do together and hopefully still make an impact in a different way.
Well, when I first approached you all about being our brand partners with Pickleball Forum for Women, part of it is because I've seen what you do. And I'm not just talking about on the court, you're great players. But you know what? There's a lot of great players out there, and I acknowledge that. But I liked what I see about you all as people, and I like how I see you working with companies and doing things that support women and those types of things. And when I first started this, I told you, I said, now in 2022, we're going to try to have some women-only events. And I talked to you real early on about maybe doing a boot camp kind of clinic with us.
Right.
So we hope that when we have that first event in 2022, where we actually get to come together, that you all will be able to work it out to come and do that kind of where people can sign up and work with you. It's not something you do all the time, but maybe as our brand partners and being special peeps with us, then we can kind of leverage that relationship to get you to do. Because I know people would love that. Just to kind of hang out and drill and play. And, our ideas around that are to have round robin tournaments so that people aren't just, they lose and they're out, they go to, I call it the opportunity bracket, the one below. And, if
We
they
did
lose,
we did a thing. We went up to Doylestown, Pennsylvania, which is real close to where I'm from, and I was born, and where Anna Leigh was born. And this was right before COVID, I think. And we did a camp, but the night before we did this
Like
pro-am round robin thing where each
person.
no each
Yeah.
each round
Each round.
she and I played with a different am. And it was so fun. You played like 1 game to 11 or something like that. And then you rotated and then you counted up the points at the very end. And whoever the two highest people, one played with me and one played with Anna Leigh, and we had like a finals. But it was so much fun. And it was a way that everybody got to play with us.
yeah,
Which at a camp like doesn't really happen, is really
No.
hard. It's really hard to like interact with everybody or hit with everybody. Whereas this was just everybody got to interact with us, play against us, play with us. And it was just a really fun way to run an event, I thought.
that's what we're doing. You just came up with a great idea. Collaboration continues.
Yeah, there you go.
Anyway, well, let's kind of switch gears a little bit then. Well, before we do though, you all don't have, you haven't collaborated and created your own shoe yet, have you?
No, right now,
Is that on the agenda?
well, right now we're partnered with Babolat, and their shoes they're my favorite shoes I've ever worn for pickleball.
Yeah.
I always thought I was a Nike girl until I started wearing the Babolats, and now I'm
Okay.
a Babolat girl. But who knows? I mean, shoes are tough.
Yes.
But shoes are our favorite things, right?
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
Mine too.
We have some kind of shoe addiction.
like anytime we win any money, like a little bit of it goes to a new pair of shoes.
Well, that sounds like a good idea, but I see a branded shoe with your logo and all like that. But anyway, keep us posted, because I know a lot of us are really big into shoes, not just the look, but I mean, I know the minute I put my foot in where the arch hits, the whole bit, I either just go, nah, not that one, nah, not that one.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll check out that brand, because as you see in the Pickleball Forum for Women, we have a lot of threads going about shoes, and because that's just your foundation. It's where everything starts to happen. So let's kind of change gears just a little bit, because I'd like to have you all give us some tips on the rip it style of playing, no matter what your level, because most people, like I said, do not play at your level. But I think, Carly, you had a question about the grip right before we started.
I definitely have a question about the grip, because I noticed you guys are doing the double-handed on the backhand and the forehand. I've started doing it. I've had some wrist issues, which is why it's kind of the reason a lot of hard hits coming at me. So how do you do it? Like, which hand goes where?
So on the backhand
backhand
side. So if you're holding a paddle, like you hold it like this, and then my other hand goes on top, but my pointer finger goes on the back side of my paddle. So, and it gives me more control, I feel, and it helps me, yes, like that. And it helps fit both my hands on the paddle.
And so your
So
right hand
here and then there. Okay.
No, so I play with a semi-western on the forehand and the backhand side, but then the other one is
You got a paddle right there? Can you show people? I mean, surely there's a paddle somewhere in that room. No.
not this room, but
Give
Somebody's
people,
trying to get
when
one.
you say that, some people, let's just say they may not know what you're talking about with that grip you just said. Why don't you explain it?
So, and this is like kind of tennis terms, but the semi-western grip is where, if this is continental, I'm holding it kind of like this on my right
Gotcha.
hand. And then on my left hand, I'm holding it continental. So like you hold a hammer. And then I have my left pointer finger on the back side of the paddle. And then my thumb is kind of like sitting on the top where the ledge turns where the grip is.
Yeah.
And I just put my finger there to start because I had not that much room to put my other finger there, and it gave me more control. So I'll show
There
you
we
the paddle.
I knew there had,
Here's my right hand. As you can see, the paddles kind of turn when I put my hand on it. And
yeah.
then my left one is continental like this, and then
Yeah,
my fingers kind of off to the side on the back.
yeah. Okay, that's good. That's good to know.
She's having wrist
Awesome.
trouble. Are you having wrist trouble on your right arm or your right
Yeah.
wrist?
Yeah,
Okay,
my
so
right
tell-
one.
So tell her what on the backhand, what,
So when I'm hitting my backhand, every single backhand that I hit, I'm pretty much only using my left arm. My right arm is just there to like hold the paddle and keep support, but it's all
So
left
you're
arm.
loose with the right hand.
Very loose with the right hand.
Okay, I bet you're over gripping it, Carly.
I bet you're using your right hand too much and probably flipping with your right hand. So
Yeah,
the backhand
It's when
should
I
always-
go bring it back like this, that there it goes, hard hit. And
Yeah. So the backhand is always, no matter who you are or what you're doing, if you're hitting a two-handed backhand, your left arm is doing all the work.
Oh,
thank
man,
you.
that's amazing tip. I love that. That's good to know. Yeah. So we have some questions, I think, Carly, in there.
yeah, and Leigh and Anna Leigh have been answering some of them as well. So
Yeah. Okay. Good.
that's awesome.
Good.
Thanks, you guys.
They're over there in the chat at the same. Y'all multitasking. This is great.
Yeah, here's another one from Beth is wondering about drilling, practice weekly, and what is it? What do you focus on time and time again?
So when we go out to drill, we always start off by dinking, and we dink every way. So we dink in front of each other, cross court, backhand, cross court, and in front of each other on the other side, just to get a feel. And it's a good warm up dinking, because if you don't warm up before you start doing everything else, it just gets kind of like bad.
So when you're dinking, let me ask you, are you being intentional about where you dink as you know what I'm saying? Some people just kind of.
Yes, if we're preparing for a tournament,
Yeah.
and we know certain strategy that we want to use, we'll practice that too. Like maybe 2 dinks to the middle, 1 out wide, and we'll just keep that going.
Yeah, we drill. I drill more than Anna Leigh does, mainly because I have more time to do that, to drill, than she does. So I'm usually drilling like 3 times a week, and she's usually drilling like 1 time a week. But always, like she said, we start out with the dinking, and like you said, Dottie, there's usually some type of strategy, or it's I want to work on the roll dink and you work on the slice dink, or there's always something that we're working on. And then from that type of drilling, we stay at the kitchen, but now we play points. So you have to dink neutral 3 times. And then it's anything goes. You can shoot, you can lob, whatever you want. And we'll play to 5.
Yeah.
And we'll do that each way. And then we move back, and one of us
on the land of opportunity,
Yeah.
as I call it.
Yeah.
And then we'll do thirds.
Yeah, and then same thing. Then we play games that way, where somebody's at the net and somebody's at the baseline. The person at the net feeds the ball. And then you play out the point. Sometimes we do it where the person at the net stays at the net for the entire game to 5. And sometimes we do it where you can only win a point if you're at the baseline. So you go up and back. You alternate going up and back.
Then we play skinny singles.
And then at the end, we play skinny singles, where you're actually serving and returning,
half court.
but just half court,
And
because
we'll
I
go
can't do
cross
full
court.
court.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, because when you all came in, you all were like the duo, the mother-daughter that took people by storm. The Rip It was like killing people. You caught them off guard, let's face it, by surprise. Now people know what you're doing. People come up with their own Rip It styles.
Absolutely.
So you've changed pickleball. However, now as people adjust, how are you changing? Like one of the things when I was coming in, it used to be like, if you lobbed, you were like dirt, and now, I mean, seriously, it's like only old people lob, but what you're seeing is the greatest time to do something is when the ball is in the air, because nobody can do something to you when the ball's in the air, But, we're beginning to see, even at the pro level, like, let's say there's a shot wide to your right. It's not like a ATP opportunity, but it's really out there, and you got people leaning, and you want to get them off the, off the non-volley line,
Right.
So you like hit a diagonal lob across. We're beginning to see that more.
Oh, yeah.
Are you all beginning to incorporate different things like that? Because kind of like people, they know your style, so you got to adjust. What are y'all doing different now?
That's a shot that is very useful now and is going to become more useful. But another thing that we really is strategy. Strategy plays a huge part of the game. You can't just go out there and rip it every time or dink it every time. You got to know where to hit it, when to hit it, who to hit it to, who's the weaker person, what's their weakest shot. And it's a lot more than you think that goes into strategy.
Yeah, and like you said, especially, we took 2020 off because of COVID. That is just what was best for our family. But the majority of the pros continued to play. So a lot went on in the development of all of their games that we didn't even know about. So we came back in 2021 and we ripped the ball at somebody, and all of a sudden it comes back just as hard or harder. We're like, wait, they didn't used to do that. Like, so
they were prepping for you while you,
yeah,
took that time off.
Exactly. And they figured out, like you said, how to be do in their own right. And so it's been an adjustment for us. Luckily, during COVID, what we did do was do a lot of drilling together, and we worked on the soft game, the finesse shots, things that we weren't overly comfortable doing before. And so that has helped us because we didn't come back just hitting hard. We came back and we were able to be a little bit more multidimensional. But it has been an adjustment for us because everybody's gotten better.
Yeah.
And really every level in the game has gotten better. The 4.0 level of today is not the 4.0 level of 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And so everybody's having to adjust to the way that the game is kind of evolving.
So how do you work on strategy? Okay, so like when I coached basketball, there's different philosophies. We were very aware of our opponents. We worked against their defense, their offense, all that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, we worked most on what we do well, our team, and that was the approach. Some people just like totally obsess over the other team. We were aware of the other team, but we were confident in what we were going to do when we get out on the court. We felt like if we play our game, we're going to win. So what is your philosophy and how do you implement your strategy?
Well, I think that's a really good point because I always say to Anna Leigh, no matter what our strategy is, we have to be true to ourselves. And our game is to be offensive. And if we lose sight of that, we're definitely going to lose. Whenever we get, I always call it being too dinky. Whenever we get too dinky with people, we don't win because that's just not our style. It's not what we're comfortable with. We're comfortable with dinking to set up the offense.
And what we have to remember is they might know the shot's coming. That's one thing, but getting it back is another thing.
Yeah. So you just have to. What we found is there is definitely a strategy, and pickleball is still so small right now, and as far as the pros, that you play the same people week in and week out. So you really know your opponent's game. I mean, pretty well. And so there's definitely a strategy with each team going in or with each individual player. But the end result is always, if we aren't offensive and stay true to our game, we're not going to win. So the strategy always has to incorporate that.
Yeah, I look at you all as a fine-tuned volleyball game of two. Yeah, and what I mean by that, I'm always amazed when people are walking around, they smack one, they're like strutting off. I'm like, you don't even get to do that unless somebody set you up. So like in volleyball, for instance, if you don't get the set, you don't get the spike. Nobody's ever spiked that didn't have a set. And it sometimes happens 2-3 shots down the way. So it sounds like to me, and what I've observed with you all, your dinking is purposeful, that it's really to set up the rip it, And like you said, Anna Leigh, hey, you can know it's coming all day long. Handling it is another thing. But if you get them on the surprise now, because you're using that dink to set up with a strategy, they still can't handle it.
Yeah, and it's you know, like putting the ball away or the final rip it is the easy part, and setting it up is the hard part. And I think that's one of the things that we've sort of, I don't know, learned or we've gotten better at is understanding that, and also understanding that the setup shot isn't the rip it shot. It's not the I'm gonna hit it 90%. It's
Right.
I'm gonna hit it maybe 50%.
It's like the return.
Or
Like you don't hit the return as hard as you can because you need to make that shot to be able to put the next shot away.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Hey, listen, Carly, I want you to check in the chat and see if anybody wants to unmute and ask something of Leigh
Oh
and Anna.
yeah, sure. And
Because we'd
Tracy
love
had
to
a-
have y'all do that. Carly will call on you and let you do that. So
yeah.
just kind of either raise your hand, wave.
And Tracy had a question, but I don't think she has audio, so I'm going to ask for her.
Me.
Is if you have a coach.
Kathy, is Kathy wanting to ask something? If you do, Kathy, hi, Kathy, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah. Okay. So what's your question, lady?
So it's about the two-handed backhand. So I've always used a two-handed backhand because it's easier for me. But you said your power comes from your left. Is that true of all players, or because I'm a left-handed player? So
So it would be your right hand.
okay.
Good
Okay.
point and good question.
Okay.
Yeah, so
That was my question because I was like, wait a minute, I'm left-handed. That doesn't work.
yeah, so for you it's your right. Your left
Okay.
hand's just there for
Support.
control and support. But yeah, it should
Okay.
be your right arm.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Good question.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, you know, the assumption that everybody's right-handed. My mom's left-handed. Yeah, so that's an excellent question, Kathy. Anybody else, you know, you can unmute and ask a question here.
You just said that Tracy asked if we have a coach.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so we don't really have a coach like here at home with us. I actually would love to have a coach because it's so helpful, even not only from a strategy standpoint, but sometimes like my drive might not feel quite right, or like, oh, my forehand dink is feeling funny, and you need somebody that can look at you technically and just say, oh, you're over the ball, or well, you know, whatever it might be. Luckily for us, we have each other, and we can take care of a lot of that because Anna Leigh's really good at teaching and really good at seeing things, so we can help each other technically. However, when we go to tournaments, actually Josh Elliott,
He doesn't like to be called a coach. He likes
I
to be
was going to
called
ask
a
you all. Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw a guy there.
His family actually owns Engage, but we from the very beginning, we've been close with their family because their daughter Rachel is only a couple years older than Anna Leigh, and then Josh is a few years older than that, and they live in Florida, and so they were some of the first pickleball people that we met, and so we got to be, you know, close friends with the family. And so at tournaments, Josh a lot of times will help us with strategy, which is great because gosh, and sometimes you're so tuned into a
But
match,
you don't know what you're doing.
it's like you have blinders on and you can't always see what's happening, and it's nice to have a coach or somebody on the outside who's looking in and can kind of see it better. And sometimes just somebody saying something to you on the timeout can really help and change the game, and has helped us and change the games. We've also at tournaments, we've had Randy Coleman, Dom Catalano. We've had a bunch of different people, Brandon Hutchman, help us. But I've said it the past couple of years. I mean, pickleball, not past couple of years, past couple tournaments, that pickleball is getting to the point where everybody's so good and no match is easy anymore. And to have a coach would definitely be, I think, very beneficial.
You know, Leigh, one thing you said, it reminds me of when you're so close, it's like if I look at this paddle like this, it says Pickleball Forum for Women on the back. But unless I do like this, I don't know that's what it says.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And unless I bring it away, when I'm too close to something, it's like you said, it's like you got on blinders. But I'm glad y'all mentioned about the coach, because this is what I was going to ask you all from the US Open. I was like, let me figure this out. He's going out there to talk to them, and it says engage on his shirt. Are they getting ready to change paddles? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and when we play engaged people, he does not coach us at all.
Yeah.
So he steps away from that one. But yeah, he just like I said, he's just a friend and helps us and
Yeah.
But that's it.
Yeah, well, that sounds good. I want to check in. I want to be really respectful of everybody's time. When we do the first Wednesday of each month, and we have people like you all on, pros who are, you know, going into more details about different things, we usually don't go into our breakout rooms where we like maybe put out a question and let people meet each other, because we just want to be respectful about around the hour time. So we want to see if there's any more questions before, you know, it's late for you all, and I know you've got a busy day, I'm sure, tomorrow. And so let me see if there's any other questions. Carly, do you see anybody?
Yeah, there was one from Karen asking about Anna Leigh and how her Osgood is doing. I don't know if Karen, you want to unmute and ask yourself there? Her son had the same thing when he was about 12.
Okay, Karen, unmute and ask your question.
Yeah, no, I was just wondering how she was doing, because I noticed she wears a knee brace at the last tournament. So if it was still giving her some problems or pain, or she's just getting over it.
It still does. After I warm it up a little bit, it goes away and I don't have trouble with it. But I still wear the knee brace because it still makes it feel like better when I put the knee brace on. And it could be some mental thing with me, I don't know, but it helps, so I wear it. But I'm gonna keep wearing it until it's completely gone, just because I think it helps me.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
She goes to physical therapy, and then she also uses the Beamer. And
It's definitely improved.
her knee troubles are definitely getting better, thank goodness. But between the soccer, like I heard you say about your ACL, she's had 3 girls on her team this year tear their ACL. So actually having this little bit of knee pain, it sounds strange, but I think it actually kind of saved us in a way, because through the physical therapy and strengthening all of the muscles around the knee, and then using the Beamer, finding the Beamer and using that, she's going to be stronger and be able to recover and less prone to injuries overall. So I'm thankful for that small blessing.
Okay, it's good to hear.
Yeah, that's great. You know, like when I told you all when we first had you, you know, you were starting with the Beamer, it's what Anna Leigh's dealing with is kind of a chronic issue, you know, right now. And so she has to use it ongoing, and it won't just shift overnight, in other words. So she has been very diligent, and Leigh has been very diligent about using their Beamer, just as I've instructed them, and how I'm always checking in with them. And they, you know, they had it at the US Open, and in between matches, they were using it. So they've had some real good success with things coming up. I know, Leigh, you can say you had a calf issue, and
and a back issue.
yeah.
Something always hurts.
So she's over there beamering away between games.
Anna Leigh, the Beamer goes on her knee. Me, it might be up here, or down here, or down here. You never know. I need like a Beamer jacket. Do they make that?
Hey, that's next, you know, after we, you know, seriously, since we're working with NASA on the interliner spacesuit, that's the next evolution of, you know, wearing it right inside clothing, which will be pretty amazing.
Daddy, we're going to have you on to do a session and explain this to everybody.
Yeah, at some point we will. You know, I've been trying to make everybody else the focus with this, but certainly anybody that's dealing with injuries or want better recovery, or just want to sustain the health you have, you know, get with me and I'll be glad to explain it more to you. But maybe we'll do one of those one time.
And I think I just have one last question in from the chat. Carol from Chicago. I believe she's no longer. Oh, yes, there she is. I see her. She had the question: who are each of your favorite mixed doubles partners and why?
Oh, put them on the spot.
She has a lot of favorite partners.
I do have a lot of favorite partners. So I started playing mixed doubles with William Sobek,
Who's another junior out of Key West, Florida.
and he will always be one of my favorite pickleball mixed players. Right now, I'm playing with Kyle and Tyson, and it's like 50-50. I've never played with Tyson before, so I'm sure I'm gonna have fun and we're gonna do well. But I don't know. I don't know.
She and Kyle do really well together.
And we have a lot of fun when we play.
They have really good chemistry together.
So maybe what do you look for in a mixed doubles partner? Because that might help some of us.
That's easy.
As long as you don't roll their eyes at me after I miss a shot.
Amen to that.
Yeah, mixed doubles I find mixed doubles to be extremely difficult. And I think it's because, well, first of all, the female's getting most of the balls.
And you have all the pressure, like you don't want to let your partner down. And
Yeah, second of all, it's harder to attack, which is our game. I mean, we love to attack. It's harder to attack, you know, a Ben Johns or a Kyle Yates or a Riley Newman or whoever's standing right in front of you. But for me, like I play my best when I'm relaxed, which is why I think I play my best when I play with Anna Leigh.
Yeah.
And so to have a mixed partner that makes you feel relaxed,
it's
is nice,
you feel comfortable with,
can make me laugh, even if things aren't going well.
and can keep you intense.
Yeah, and so, yeah, that's true. Can give you that energy when you need it. And for me, like Tyson and Kyle have been like that. They're my favorite partners because of all those reasons. I feel relaxed. You know, Tyson, all during US Open, we had our ups and downs. We ended up coming in fourth, playing really well. But he, you know, he just says funny stuff in the middle of the match that like can just relax you and put a smile on your face. And I need that personally from a mixed partner.
I'll keep working on the Brown brothers, okay?
Yes.
Well, at least to
Love
have
that.
some fun, you know,
That would be so fun.
it's really crazy. My friend, you know, was talking to Mike Bryan. And so I said, well, it's their dream to play with him. He said, well, let me just see if he can do it tomorrow. So then we were going to be able to do it. And so I said, Leigh, is there any chance y'all could? And Anna Leigh had a soccer match. So
Yeah, we were out of town somewhere.
yeah. But you know, hey, there are the connections, and that's how a lot of things happen. So we'll keep that for a future dream come true. How about that?
That sounds good.
Anyway, well, listen, I really appreciate y'all taking your time to be on here tonight. It's always a pleasure just hearing you all talk, share your stories, and I love where you're going, what you're doing. So thank you very much. Thank you to Carly and Lynn who are on here and help admit everybody and monitor the questions. And most of all, past Leigh and Anna Leigh, thanks to each of you all I mean, we ended up with 43 people on here tonight live, which is
Thank you, everybody.
fantastic. Yeah. And we will be getting the recording out and also those codes and things, Leigh. I'll be wanting to do a special post about that so that I know people want to go check out that clothing and everything that you do. So
Cool.
anyway, thanks so much. And we will see you all next week on the Pickleball Happy Hour.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Good night.